The Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, spoke about the situation in Ukraine and significantly Yemen. Remember, the United States is attacking Yemen presently after they've cut off shipping in the Red Sea, off their coastline south of the Suez Canal. Let's just listen into what she said. The other big international talking point is obviously the situation between Russia and Ukraine, and we're all optimistic, and I've covered the war 3 times, on seeing peace in the area. Tens of thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people on both sides have lost their lives. Be that as it may, if President Putin doesn't come on the table with the peace agreement which has been proposed by the United States, can Washington indefinitely keep arming Ukraine and, in a sense, allowing them to continue their fight?
President Trump is seeing this ongoing conflict with very clear eyes. And he has made his position and his priority very clear, which is to bring about an end to this war. So he is focused on peace. The negotiations have just begun. He's looking forward to success in those negotiations, not for himself, but for the cause of peace and to stop the killing of innocent and taking of innocent lives there. So he has the best negotiators working with both the Ukrainians and with Russia and with Putin. And we look forward to seeing the continued progress that we've already seen over a very short period of time. I think it's important to point out that under the previous administration, during which this war began, there was no effort. There was no effort at all towards peace. There was no effort to have direct dialogue with Putin and with Russia to try to bring about an end to this war. So already, in a very short period of time, President Trump has made much more progress towards peace than any effort that has occurred by anyone previously. So we're very encouraged by this progress, and President Trump remains committed to the objective of peace.
How much of what you're talking about now is premised on a successful conversation between President Trump and President Putin? I believe that might take place tomorrow or day after.
Well, as you know, with any of these kinds of negotiations, there's a lot of work that goes between people representing both countries or all of the countries involved in this situation. And at the appropriate time, I'm sure that President Trump will have a very productive conversation with Putin, once again, rooted in his unwavering commitment to peace.
One of your primary concerns and one of your primary responsibilities is to deal with the threat of terror. And at the moment, we see a great deal of that out of Yemen. We see attacks on shipping taking place, and we see the United States being very much on the offensive. Is that a prelude for something larger, perhaps even a ground offensive going forward?
I mean, you look at President Trump's leadership going back through his first term as president, he has been and remains very committed to combating and defeating the threat of Islamist terrorism that not only affects the United States, the American people, our own safety and security, but it is affecting so many people in different parts of the world. We can see different terrorist groups, the Houthis in Yemen being one of them, that President Trump has redesignated after President Biden took them off of the terrorist list, redesignated them appropriately as a terrorist organization, and taking action where the previous administration failed to.
Right.
The Houthis have been disrupting maritime trade and passage for a very long time, and no serious effort has been taken to stop that disruption. Our country and other countries should not be in a position to have to make a decision to reroute commerce going through that area simply because of the Houthi threat that exists. So President Trump has taken decisive action for our own safety, security, and prosperity. And I know we'll look to other affected countries, as there are many who are impacted by this, to similarly take action.
Well, joining us now, Vivek Mishra, Deputy Director at Strategic Studies at the Strategic Studies Program at the Observer Research Foundation. Thanks very much, Vivek, for being with us. You know, in just the last little while, President Trump has put in a message on Truth Social where he says, with regard to Yemen, every shot fired by the Houthis will be looked upon from this point forward as being a shot fired from the weapons and leadership of Iran. You know, I mean, we're getting out of one war, hopefully. Perhaps two if the situation in West Asia stabilizes. But is there a real worry that Iran may be in the crosshairs of America, going well beyond what we are seeing in terms of their attacks against the Houthis?
Oh, I think, the signals are to that, because clearly Trump started by offering an olive branch to Iran, which did not work. And Khamenei, the state leader, clearly rejected that idea. And therefore, since then, we've had a bit of a back and forth, which is Israel stopping aid into Gaza, and then the Houthis declaring that if the aid line isn't reopened, then the attacks continue. And preempting that statement from Houthi, you have the United States attacking Houthi. So I think there's been a sequence that has built, starting from an olive branch to being offered to Iran. Now, so I clearly see that this is escalating, and if you look at the template of President Trump, it's clearly basing it on the idea of counterterrorism. And I don't think that's, and I clearly think that template going forward is going to strengthen in the Trump presidency too.
In terms, and Tulsi Gabbard didn't give me a direct answer when I asked her whether the attacks of that the U.S. Navy was conducting now against targets in Yemen could be a prelude to perhaps even a ground assault. Do you believe that might actually happen? Can the Houthis be silenced just by air assaults?
I don't see a ground offensive. I don't think Trump will be eager to send a domestic signal exactly opposite to what he has promised in the campaign, which is to take out America from external engagement. So I clearly see that it's going to be an aerial bombardment and selling that idea to the American public as a counterterrorism strategy, which works more than, let's say, ground offensive on the ground.